episode of Sessions with Mary Jane. I'm Reena Ezra.
I'm Jordan Free.
And I'm Brendan O'Brien.
And we have a wonderful guest who I've actually been very excited. I think we've all been very excited to have on the show. Oh my god, I already got nervous just thinking about his last name.
Guys, it's Corey Chichizola.
Hello. Okay. Now you know how every announcer at my T-ball games felt like.
Yeah.
I was not good at T-ball, but I was insistent that they got my name correct.
Yeah.
It matters. Yeah. It's your identity.
What's like the root or like the country of origin from your last name?
It's Italian, but we like bastardized it. So it should be Chichizola, but we like changed the CH from Italian to English, but only for one of them. So like it's like there's no way that someone would naturally get it correct upon first read.
Right. It's up for interpretation. Whoever in your family is feeling a certain way in the moment, they can pronounce the name however they want to.
It is like a long game of telephone amongst generations with last names is sometimes how I think of it.
Yeah.
It just gets morphed over.
Like why? Why did we change it? Why didn't it just stay the way it's supposed to sound?
Yeah.
Like whose idea was like, this is how we'll fit in?
They knew they were coming to America.
Yeah, right.
A place where people are lazy.
We have to assimilate. Before we go into your interrogation, no, I'm just kidding. We have a challenge for you. Brendan, if you would like to give his challenge.
Yes, Corey. So over the course of this podcast, whenever you think of an item on this list, we're going to give you a list of items to name. And so your list of items to name is to name as many people who have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame as you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might be guessing incorrectly for some of them. I could be lying.
We will use the Google machine.
We will be checking, so
and
you
the
worry.
fact check. Our PA will be right on that.
Yeah, so you do it in the beginning, you do it at the end, or if you think of one randomly in the middle of the conversation, feel free to interrupt us and just shout it out, and we'll put it on the list and count them up at the end.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So do I just start at any point? I'm just going to say them?
Go for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through RuPaul first because I know that was new.
Mm-hmm.
We love that fracking queen.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good first one.
Yes.
That's solid. So
have you always been on the RuPaul train? Yeah. Like, did you now RuPaul is pretty iconic, like among all cultures, but like how long have you been on that Drag Race? He does Drag Race, right?
Right. Drag Race started back in season 1 when it was on Just Logo and the budget was nothing. That was my freshman year of college, and we had gotten Logo.
Wow.
And I was involved in like all of the like queer stuff on campus. So they were like, we have like a whole gay channel. And so it was basically all they had. And I was like, this is great. It's like Top Model, but on Project Runway on crack. Mm. And that was how I tried to describe it to people. So I was an original day one Drag Race fan.
Wow.
Although my relationship to RuPaul goes back because I watched the Brady Bunch movies like so many times growing up on syndication.
Yes.
So many times.
Which one's better, the first Brady Bunch movie or the second Brady Bunch movie?
I think it's the first one because it's like more simple, but the second one has some of like the funniest quotes.
Yeah. Like
all of that Sure Jan stuff happens in the sequel.
Right.
Like, that's when she makes up a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And at one point, my favorite scene is when Jan wants to like prove that she has a boyfriend. So she calls a sex hotline to talk to a real man. And Jan is like on the phone and she's like, what am I wearing? A bright red jumper with a floral trim. What do you mean take it off? That was like my away message for years in high school.
Were you a big fan of the Brady Bunch growing up?
No. I mean, I was a fan of the 90s movies that were on TV all the time on syndication. So those are my Brady Bunch. The ones making fun of them.
RuPaul has been in the industry for a long time. Like, it's just fun. Like, also doesn't look like, doesn't look aged at all. I mean, to me, it looks as I'm like, how is that possible? But
she has been yanked and snatched back. I mean, the surgery, the dermatology, she's a wonder.
Yeah.
True. Where did you grow up?
I'm a Jersey kid.
Yeah.
Yes. Jersey trash through and through. So
Where? Jersey where?
Lyndhurst as a kid.
Oh my God! Same.
We moved to Paramus when I was in middle school.
Wow.
Lyndhurst didn't have middle schools. I went to my first middle school upon moving.
Wow.
Wait, so you were... What school were you in Lyndhurst? I know this is getting so specific, but...
I know, dox me. Roosevelt.
Okay. I
lived like around the corner.
I was Lyndhurst and then went to Mawa. That's very interesting.
Home of the Ramapo College.
So, yeah, that's true.
What parts of New Jersey would you say had like the biggest influence on who you are or like what your personality is like?
I mean, I really became a fully formed person in college. You know, like I like a lot of like gay people, or I was like barely myself, and then went to school in Mawa, New Jersey, and so like it wasn't specifically about the where in New Jersey I was, but the fact that I was like having gay sex and like being myself and not like worrying about, you know, all of that like stuff you grow up with, like being queer and being a young person.
Yeah. How was it in just suburbia? Because now where do you live now? Where are you now?
I'm in East Rutherford.
Oh,
so I'm still,
right. You were close.
I'm still in Bergen County.
Got you. Yeah, I also never bursted out of the Bergen County bubble.
I know. I mean, at this point, like, we live in such an expensive place in the country that, like, anywhere else I'm going to move that's going to be, like, cooler, quote unquote, is, like, my rent is going to be double. And that seems dumb to me. So, like, I don't want to go to New York. I don't want to go to Hoboken.
Yes.
I'm 2 train stops away from New York. I mean, my commuting in on transportation is, like, a breeze. So that it is very convenient. It is very nice, but also you don't have to really be in person for work right now. Are you doing most of your job virtually, interviews over, like, obviously through, you know? Right. Yeah. I mean, when I was hired at Cinema Blend 5 years ago, I was working full time from home. So I have always been in my pajamas, smelling bad during work. But I would go into the city or travel for like in-person interviews for junkets. That right now has not been a thing. They've been all virtual. I could have done in-person for something. Maybe it was in the Heights, but it would have had to be like, I would have had to get tested. We were understaffed for the week. It was a whole thing. And I was like, screw it. I'm just going to do this from home.
Yeah.
How is the adjustment? How is the doing it? Obviously, you know, what you lose by not doing it in person, but.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of chemistry. You know, it was already a contrived environment. And you know, it's like super weird. These are 5-minute interview blocks. So like, it's mind numbing for them, I'm sure. And you black out as a journalist because you're trying to like connect with somebody, get what you need, and also not make the person mad at you who's like running the thing. So there's less chemistry. That being said, I mean, not having to commute and all that stuff. I'm like the laziest. I don't ever leave my house. I'm like such a hermit. So like not having to schlep into the city for interviews is nice. But I miss the in-person stuff. I hope it'll happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Eventually.
Hopefully we don't go backwards.
They started kind of happening. There were in-person junkets. Some of them required testing. And then now it's like, I don't know when that'll be feasible.
What would you
I don't know.
do differently, or try to like harness something unique by just having the 5-minute time block? Since it's so short, what would you, if you could put into words?
It's tough. It's so weird how like 2 more minutes changes my entire job. Like just having enough room to like be in an actual organic conversation with segues and like acknowledging what someone says instead of like, well, I have to try to squeeze in stuff. It's hard. I would say one thing that's good is that like normally, so I'm like looking at a person on camera, trying to connect with them, thinking about my questions, but then there's a producer behind them that is counting me down with minutes the whole time and telling me to wrap it up. So it's stressful being like trying to silently acknowledge them, like give them a nod, still pay attention to the person I'm trying to like have a conversation with. Well, now that it's in Zoom, I can type back like, yes, I heard you, 2 more minutes.
True.
So that part is helpful. Or I could be like, don't worry, that is my last question, and once they stop talking, I will leave. You know, that part is nice. That's the only good thing that has come is I can like communicate, because I'm not a telepath. I can't do it when it's in person.
Yeah. It feels like you're a stand-up and you're getting your light. And they're like, you're done. 5 minutes, you're
Oh yeah, it's crazy. That's exactly what it feels like. And then if you have just like a director who likes to talk, which is most of them, then like, you know, they start going off in a diatribe and you like maybe get 2 questions in and then it's over.
Who do you think is the interviewing GOAT, not to put you in a controversial situation right now, the greatest of all time? Yeah.
I've been lucky. Everyone's been very kind to me. I don't have a horror story yet, but I have a few like cool moments. Blake Lively and Paul Feig, I had them together for A Simple Favor with Anna Kendrick. Cool. And they served me a martini during the interview.
Whoa.
So that was fucking cool. And it was like 10 in the morning. I do not drink gin. And I was like, yes, please. And there's a gift that my coworker made, because halfway through the interview, she like slides it back over to me, like, continue drinking, please. And I like just, you know, have you heard the impression clutching your pearls? Like, like it's my reaction is like, like
I wish people could see this.
I know, I'll send it to you, and if you want to put it on, I don't know, you guys are on Patreon or something, I can send you the GIF if you want that to be an elite privilege or something. But it's just like, it's what gay happiness looks like.
Yes. I love that. That's so fun.
They were cool. And then Jamie Lee Curtis is my favorite all-time person I've interacted with for work at all. But I didn't have a 4-minute thing. I visited the set of the 2018 Halloween, which is so good. I was so excited. And so she came in, she was not working that day, but she got into like Lori drag, put on the wig, put on the thing, talked to us for like 15 minutes. The producers tried to get her away and she was like, I'm fine, and stayed. And then she hung out on set all day, like doing text to speech on the grass. And then I went out with the smokers every break we had because we were like stuck in a dining room for the whole time. And she like came back on her own accord to talk to us and had the slate from the original movie and was like, look what I have, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
So she's extremely generous and cool and has a very foul mouth. And I just think she's the coolest lady ever.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What are some of the things that surprise you when you interview like different celebrities?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough because I want to like make a snap judgment about like, oh, so-and-so, I don't know, the people in Marvelous Miss Maisel were all lovely, right? And I was like, oh, I just love this show even more.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if someone like doesn't have chemistry with me or like is sitting through mindless interviews, like it's not really their fault, I guess. So it's interesting. I'll drop one name, Ansel Elgort, who is like a controversial figure right now.
Mm-hmm.
I did an interview with him for the Goldfinch, which I did not like at all. And I was like, this guy he was just like no energy. Like I felt like he didn't give a shit. And then, so I like kind of held that against him. And then I interviewed him for West Side Story and he was like perfectly lovely and energized. And I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't judge people based on 4 minutes of like time in a terrible, endless day of press. That being said, his other stuff, I won't comment on. I'm not standing up for him as a human, but the experience was different the second time around. It was vastly different.
Yeah, you're just meeting him in a short burst, and also they're human, and it's just like you don't know how the rest of their day went.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, I just thought that for the star thing. I just wanted to. I'm sure he has one.
Yes.
Certain of this.
Yes, he does. Yeah, it is interesting how even for people who like don't talk to celebrities or meet celebrities, like there is like this thing where people do feel the need to have an opinion about the quality of people like as celebrities. Like, and I guess like Do you feel like oftentimes the quality of the show for you? I know you mentioned the Miss Maisel thing, but do you how often do you feel like the quality of the thing that you watch is affected after finding out the person, whether you meet them or you just like watch an interview or whatever it is?
Usually I'm like just so excited that I know people from something. I watch a lot of everything, so I'm just like, I love you from this 1996 weird thing that you were in. But oh wait, I was going somewhere. Damn. That was a precursor. That was a precursor to a really good point that I had about something. Oh no, I remember now.
Oh,
everything that I love is made by monsters. Like my favorite things. My favorite TV show is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite movie is American Beauty. You know, like all of my favorite things, the people behind them turn out to be horrible. Yeah. So that is a challenge that I have to just be like, oh, well, I'm going to keep watching the Buffy or whatever the case. Like American Beauty is amazing. Kevin Spacey is also a creep.
Yeah. That's fascinating though, that it is that's a pattern.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So do you separate the artists from the person then in order to, I know we've definitely like discussed this with other artists on the show, but I am always interested in everybody's answer. If you're able to, also for your job, if you're able to separate them and like, you know, try and watch the art non-biased.
I guess there's some journalistic neutrality that you have to have also. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as like dealing with people who separating the artists, like I've had, just because as I just mentioned, like all of my things, terrible things keep coming out about the people who create all of my favorite stuff. So I've had to be like, well, either I'm going to never enjoy this again or I'm going to have to separate it, you know?
But one influences the other. I mean, one does, anything you create is now a piece of you.
Right. But like, does it make everybody else's work less significant?
No,
like, no, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird with Buffy in particular because it is by far my favorite show, and like all of that Joss Whedon stuff were so wild, and like so many of the cast specifically was like, he's not a good guy. Like the whole cast at this point has said in one way or another, like, we don't like this dude. So it's rough. Like they must have been miserable. Grey's Anatomy, that's another show I love. Like that set was horrible for 10 years. It was notoriously terrible.
Wow.
They've had so many scandals.
Wow. I have not been on the Grey's Anatomy wagon. So I don't.
Oh. I mean, just like for a while there, everyone kept getting fired and like there were so many fights on set. It was just like crazy.
And that's unsettling for the people who are supposed to be doing their jobs or acting. That's not like, not a good word.
Yeah, it's wild, but I'm gonna so I guess maybe I've been given a blessing in that way, is that I've been forced to have those boundaries, and otherwise I'm just not going to be able to have beloved things in my life.
Yeah, because I guess you have to like almost like look at it with the logic of like the like with the movie, for example. It's like, someone like Kevin Spacey is awful, and you watch American Beauty, but there's also like a bunch of other people who were involved in making that, and like they also should be able to claim ownership over it the same way that he might, or like someone who watched it might.
Right, like how we're just not going to watch Annette Bening's performance for the rest of time. Like, no way, dude. She's unreal in that movie. Like she's like one of the best performances ever on film. I feel like she's just like the perfect amount of unhinged, and I need her. I need to watch her clean someone's house.
I feel like they have to create like a computer-based algorithm or like computer AI that just like takes out Kevin Spacey from movies and replaces him like they did with the All the Money in the World.
Christopher Plummer,
except like it's just done by a computer. Like you don't even have to do it with.
And if anyone is gonna do it, like Captain Von Trapp from The Sound of Music, I wouldn't mind if his face was on all of those performances. But Christopher Plummer and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have to ask. Also, the people that you listed, like Jamie Lee Curtis and. Do you want to see if they have or do those count as far as stars? I'm certain Jamie Lee Curtis has a star.
Yes.
Just because you mentioned them and I didn't want those to go to waste. I want to make sure.
Blake Lively might have one, maybe not.
Ooh, I'm not sure about that.
Paul Feig has been in a lot of stuff. Maybe he has one.
Yeah. Oh, we're on the fat chicken machine now.
I know, right?
What are 3 movies that are very underseen that you think people have to watch?
Oh my gosh. I'm in a horror place right now. I'm currently, and I feel like not enough people have seen Hush on Netflix.
Ooh,
I have not.
I haven't seen it, yeah.
It's Mike Flanagan, the master of like Netflix's, haunting shows and
Stephen King things.
Yeah, and watch Midnight Mass was the best thing that came out last year, like by far. And so it's like a simple home invasion, but the final girl, the only girl, and it's played by the one lady who's in all of his stuff that he's married to, and she's deaf. And so it's a very simple twist on a home invasion, but it creates for such like inventive, interesting sequences, and it's really, really great performances. It's so good.
Wow, I'm intrigued.
Yes. Also, an update on the fact checking. So Jamie Lee Curtis, as we all probably could have guessed, does definitely have a star, as deserved. And then Paul Feig and Blake Lively, not currently, but I would guess that they probably are on their way there.
Paul Feig deserves better.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have? Are there any do you have any favorite directors that when you are thinking of some of the movies that you've enjoyed over your entire life, they have consistently cranked out some faves of yours?
Sure. I mean, Spielberg of it all. Spike Lee is like a master. I interviewed him. He was fucking awesome. Directors that I mean, like Nolan stuff is always fun to watch. Who else? I don't know. It's hard because there's like just like all the like greats like Kubrick. You know what I mean? Like I could just like
go off.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Some people are very consistent. I always kind of like used to put Joss Whedon on that pedestal too. Like I love The Cabin in the Woods. Like that movie is right in my sweet spot. It's right in that like Scream.
That's a good one, yeah.
Place of like comedy and horror and
yeah.
Do you get scared when you watch horror movies, or are you into it more for just like the experience of watching it?
Yeah, I get scared still.
Yeah.
I mean, the right jump scare will get me for sure.
Yeah.
When I saw the new Scream, there were a bunch of moments where I caught myself being like, yeah, they can get me for sure. Yeah. And I'm here for it. I want to feel all the feelings. James Wan will get me. His jump scares are always like ridiculous. Yeah, I can definitely get spooked by a good horror movie if it's the right stuff going on.
Yeah, there's something like weirdly satisfying about getting scared watching a movie, right? Like it's kind of impressive that someone was able to just like by just like showing you like a series of images, they were able to elicit a response from you, and they could be millions of miles away from you.
It's also sound.
Yeah,
it's not just images.
Exactly, and people like are like, I'm not into horror. I'm like, shut up. Like the fact that you're too scared to watch it already means doing its job. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
I'm here to feel things. I'm like I'm a crier when it comes to all forms of media. I'm very open. I'm emotionally available. So on top of being a crier, I'm also like ready to be scared.
Where's the most public place you cried?
Oh my God, everywhere. Oh, I can tell you. No, you know what? This is dark. I'm gonna go there.
Ooh, yeah.
Potentially a traumatic story, but I was going through an awful breakup, and I found out that my ex like stole a whole bunch of my stuff.
Oh wow!
And I was on the phone, and like it caught me for some reason so off guard, and I was in a Bottle King.
Oh.
And I was like. And I like ran to my car and like openly wept. And then this woman, this angel from heaven, like knocked on my window and was like, "Are you okay? Like, I know sometimes we all go through things. Like, do you need someone to talk to?" And I was too like embarrassed. I was like, no, I'm fine. But wow, I think about her. I think about her all the time. I know. I want to like write a poem about her or like something. I feel like there's this like nice lady out there who like, you know, like I was fine enough. I had enough capabilities to handle what I was going through.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't, like, you know, she could have like saved a life.
Yeah.
But Bottle King, and when I pass by that Bottle King, I'm always like, that's the Bottle King where I openly wept.
Corey, I'm sure you're probably not the only person to have cried at the Bottle King parking lot.
During the day, like middle of the afternoon, you know.
And then you grab your bottles of wine,
right?
And then you go home.
I wonder if I don't know if I did. I think I might have driven away, which is sad. That's the real tragedy.
You left.
I don't think I forgot. Empty. I wish that it was like a movie, like a comedy where something bad happens and they accidentally shoplift.
Yeah.
I wish that was what happened, but unfortunately, I don't think it did.
Yeah. Yeah. Corey, if you could pick a movie genre that would describe your life, what movie genre would you say is the life of Corey Chichizola?
I'm on a dead horse, but like the like comedy drama, a good dramedies where I sit comfortably, and that includes like horror stuff. Like I like, I don't know, dark stuff is funny, life is grimly hilarious. So that's probably and that's probably part of like why I like respond to this genre so much. But usually all of my favorite movies are like dark comedies, like American Beauty, like I said, like Yellow Jackets is hitting that sweet spot for me on Showtime. If you guys are not watching Yellow Jackets, can I elevator pitch you?
Yes, please.
Do you know what it's about at all?
No,
not really.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's a split story set in like 1995 and now, and it's about this elite group of soccer players who are going to nationals or some shit. And their plane goes down in the middle of the Canadian wilderness. And they're there for a year and a half, and they eventually like result to cannibalism, to like ritualistic cannibalism. So we start off with like dead people and cannibalism in the episode 1, and then we like get bits and bits and bits. And it's so good.
That's episode
surprisingly
1.
It opens like we know that there's, but we don't know like who it is. We don't know the people who are alive.
Oh.
It's set between. So we're seeing it happen, and then we're seeing like adult them in the real world. And adult them is Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci, and Melanie Linsky. So it's like the best cast ever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Good. I finished watching like some shows, so I'm just like, now I'm besides Euphoria. I'm like, I gotta wait for an episode to come out each time, like the olden days.
Yeah.
Euphoria will keep me together now because Euphoria being on Sundays will now replace Yellow Jackets, which just ended.
Yes.
And Showtime and Dexter, the new Dexter I did. So every Sunday I had Dexter and Yellow Jackets, which was good time.
Yeah.
Good block of TV.
Does that ever like affect your dreams? Like, do you ever?
No,
if you're watching...
I'm such a sicko. I mean, when it comes to like horror content, like your girl is immune. I play horror video games.
Oh, whoa, really?
Yeah,
I would love to see you in. I went with my twin to Providence, Rhode Island, and she did a horror movie game on virtual reality. Standing with the headset and everything. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but I'm just picturing you doing that, and I would love to see it.
I'm down. I have not. I'm a VR virgin, so
okay.
Unfortunately.
If you had to set a new horror movie that's coming out next year, where would it take place?
I kind of like simple. I like, I don't need a big giant concept as far as like. I kind of like that being now, although you have to worry about like phones. So maybe like the 90s.
Yeah, cool.
So, you know what I mean? Like mid 90s, pre-cell phones. The Fear Street movies were satisfying in that way. There was like one of them was the 90s year, and I was like, yeah, this is so great. I'm glad that I'm now old enough that I can enjoy like vintage content about my childhood.
Yeah, the 90s is like we're definitely on the brink of a lot of 90s content, just because like we had that like nice big 80s wave of nostalgia that had kind of played out over the last decade, and now it feels like we've gotten 90s stuff before, but now I think now especially we're about to get probably more of it.
And like the early 2000s, like Pen 15 did its own, like, no one has captured like what it was like to be in middle school during that time.
Yeah.
Until then.
Yeah, like
it was so accurate.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, like when once they do start making like period pieces about times that you were like, oh, I was a child then, you know. Yeah, I think especially because it's felt like even like the stuff with the 90s, it still feels like it was like kind of far away. Corey, what year were you born in?
1990.
Oh yeah, so I'm 92, and so I feel like even with a lot of the 90s stuff, like if you're like really little, like you remember a lot of it, but it's really like that like late 90s, early 2000s stuff where it's like that time period when like cell phones were kind of starting to become like a possibility, and like technology really started coming in, and then like once you went from like VHS to like DVD, and then like all of a sudden like all physical media was gone. It's just like it felt like a lot happened in that period of time.
Right. I need more content about instant messaging.
Yo, yes.
Because that was life-changing for us all. Like, that's why we're all good with technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everyone can type well.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Like, when I meet people who are shitty at typing, I'm like, weren't you on AIM every day? Like, what do you mean you don't know how? Like, I didn't learn from school. I learned from bullshitting on AOL every night in middle school, you know?
Yeah, so and that's one that the Pen 15 does so well is like AOL Instant Messenger specifically is like such like in that show, but also like during that time period was such the gateway towards communicating with everyone you talk to. It's like even having a phone wasn't even like as important as having AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, texting is just AOL Instant Messenger, but like now.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's the same crap. That's where the form of like instantly being like pa 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 pa.
I think it's special because people of our like if you grew up in the 90s or born in the 90s, you're also like you have your toes dipped into both waters. Right before like again cellular advancement, but also internet. We grew up with the internet, so it's like. Also, Google, YouTube coming up, like things that were literally developing as we were developing. Mm-hmm. And so we learned how to use them as opposed to kids now who are born into the world of it. I feel like they don't know what a search engine is. Like they don't know the basics of a, you know what I'm saying?
They don't know about Ask Jeeves. Yeah. They never ask Jeeves anything.
They don't know that the save icon is a floppy disk. Like they don't know that. They don't even have USBs probably. I don't even know what I'm saying.
That's what that like meme of like, sure, grandma, like that's us. Because we're the last generation that like we did floppy disks and tapes and like cassette tapes, you know, all of that stuff. Like we were like alive during the Renaissance. Like we saw it happen. So that's why I feel like we're not gonna. I always wonder like, is there gonna be a point where we're like the old people who can't figure out technology? But I don't know if it will happen.
I think we'll be pretty good.
Yeah,
I
feel like we've been forced to adapt constantly that we're just gonna be like, yep, doop doop doop. I'm old, and then like whatever.
Right,
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because before the biggest leap was like. It's like, all right, I'm finally gonna like actually watch TV as opposed to just listening to the radio, and so like probably like older generations were definitely less like they had less like hurdles and like less like kind of like milestones to get to, and they're like
and like resistance.
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing I'm resisting is TikTok. Like I won't do it.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. What is it for you that turns you off to TikTok?
There's so many things about it. I just feel like people are gross. Like. Stop recording yourself crying. If you're upset and your first thing to do is to turn on a camera, you need to talk to someone about that. Like,
good point.
You're gonna make content out of it. What do you mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Go look in the mirror if you have to see how pretty your eyes look when you're crying. You know what I mean? Like, don't like. I don't know. People. It's the oversharing mixed with oversimplification.
Yeah,
it just feels gratuitous. It feels like that being said, like I'll enjoy a good one. I'll wait once they go viral enough that I see it on Twitter or whatever it is.
Yeah. TikToks are way more enjoyable when you don't see them on TikTok.
And people swear by it, and I feel like I'm like grandpa, like I'm get off my lawn. like this is my get off my lawn first moment because I like hate TikTok so much.
Yeah. I've never.
And like I never had Snapchat. Like I've missed out on apps and not felt as much like vitriol as I do about TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's very.
I feel like we've lived through enough of these social media trends now to know that some come and go, some stay forever, but they just change over time. And like people who are like addicted to them now will be addicted forever. But like other than that, like it seems like it's always shifting a little bit too. So like if you don't get into TikTok, there will be something else that might be better that comes along very soon.
You know what else is happening right now is that all of our parents are like crazy on Facebook and like oversharing in that way. And like I seem to recall when you were on my case about what I put on the internet. and you were worried about my away message or whatever my face, and like you're the one now. You're doing all of the things. You're like identifying your mother's maiden name accidentally by responding to a meme post, you know what I mean?
That's very specific.
Well, because I feel like a lot of those like share and comment on this post thing are like traps to get people to reveal their passwords and like security questions.
Whoa, that's hot. I did not realize that. Damn, that's so smart.
A hot take.
That is actually
they're gonna name
exactly
their dogs. They're gonna say their first dog's name on it by responding.
You
and then when
you
you're
can probably find everyone's like information if you go through all their social media. You can with like I think people have done that. I think people have literally gotten hacked like that.
Yeah.
For what you're exactly. I just I don't know. It's just the shoes on the other foot now that like with the parents and everybody those people.
It's so weird.
But it is just it's just overwhelming. I don't like how there's just too many of them and there's just so much at the same time. I've never hated the word content more in my life.
I know. I hate it. Especially because it's just like people. I'm like, it's not content. Like you're just in your living room. Like you're not a content creator for work. You're just like posting your trauma online.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just become quantity, not quality either. Because like now that you're having these many people have access to it, billions of people have, or whoever have, I don't know how many exactly, have a TikTok, but it's like then everybody is now a video editor in their own home and does all these things, and there's so many dances. I'm sorry.
There's also like a dark part of Twitter, which is like these like they put it's like meme formats, right? Where everyone uses the same song and the same words. And like there's like a gay part of it, which is just like really attractive white dudes putting out awful content in quotes, and it's just like them shirtless doing the same stupid dance. And it gets millions and millions, like so much reaction. I'm like, this is all garbage, mama. Like, throw it away, burn it in fire. There's just I'm sure there's good parts about TikTok, but there's so many bad parts about it that I'm constantly seeing that I'm like, sis, you've got to stop. We've got to stop rewarding bad behavior. We have to stop rewarding like the algorithms. Way of like rewarding attractive people for doing nothing.
What do you like to do when you're not watching things on screens? How do you get away?
Well, I'm a hermit. But I play a lot of Dead by Daylight on the Nintendo Switch. That is my main video game of choice. But I didn't do video gaming. I watch just so much TV and movies. It's crazy. Theater, I love live theater. I do community theater now currently, which is a very good way for me to get out of the house and make adult friends. So that's like my like hobby that isn't work. So that's
what theater?
Yeah, do you want to plug that?
I hop around all the time in the New Jersey community theater scene, but I'm currently rehearsing Tuck Everlasting at the Chatham Community Playhouse. I don't know if that's what it's called. Chatham Players. I think it's Chatham Community. No, I don't know. I don't know the name of the theater, but I'm doing Tuck Everlasting, the musical there currently.
Ooh, cool. When do you guys open?
first 2 weekends of March. Hopefully things will have calmed down and and it'll be like feasible to like do a show. I haven't done a show since pre-pandemic, and it's very hard to breathe and sing with a mask on in rehearsal. I am learning. I'm also out of shape, so I'm like, all right, I guess I have to go back to the gym because my body can't like do the things that it needs to do.
It's a very vocal.
Yeah, I have to dance. I'm not a dancer, and I never have been, but I pretend.
Yeah.
I'm a dancer in the way that all gay people are dancers.
What was it like getting to be in a production again after all the things that we've all gone through in terms of the quarantining and everything from the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just starting rehearsal, so TBD, but I'm very looking forward to it. It is definitely different. We're all masked. I assume we'll be masked unless we're in performance.
Do you have to get tested every time you show up for rehearsals, or when the? No,
I mean, there's no like budget to like pay for all those tests and stuff. We're we're all fully masked. Everyone's vaccinated. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled. A lot of stuff has been canceled.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
But yeah, it would be good. It would be good for the soul. Think about something other than work. Yeah. You know.
Are you a big musical theater guy?
Yeah. I love it. That's all I really do is musicals. And then when I went to Ramapo, they did not do any musicals at all. So then I had to learn how to like actually act and stuff. But yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm a very big stereotype in that way.
Dude, what's your fave? What's your fave on Broadway?
For what's currently on?
Ooh, yes, and of all time.
My favorite show of all time is probably Next to Normal. And I love a lot of Sondheim. I love Into the Woods. Something, once again, a dramedy. All of my favorites, like, pivot between comedy and drama. What's on now, though? A lot of stuff closed. I saw the current revival of Company, and it was really good with Patti LuPone. Patricia LuPone, ever heard of her?
Yeah. She feels like a star.
Yeah, she might be.
I've now seen her. I've seen her on Broadway twice now, and both I saw her in Gypsy when I was like in college, and that was crazy.
Damn.
I come from the theater. I was trying to work in theater before I got my job. I wasn't trying to be a journalist at all, and I was working in theater in the city and trying to find a full-time nice good theater job with benefits on the production side, marketing, general management, that kind of stuff. So that's where my that's where I originally thought my career was going to go, and then it ended up going in this really unexpected cool place.
How? Can you elaborate? How did you go into journalism?
Yeah, I was just trying to get a full-time job and something I would like to do. I saw a job open at Cinema Blend on Indeed, and it was for the weekend editor, and it was working all weekend long, basically running the website, which was, and it was entry level money wise, and I was just really trying to hustle and find a job that I could actually enjoy that was in the arts in some way. And I was interviewing between there and then a job at Broadway.com that I was this is where I really want to be. And I did not get it. And I got the job at Cinema Blend and took it. And then it ended up, I've been there for 6 years, and it's grown. And I've, stepped up and moved up throughout the years and started doing interviews and stuff like that. That didn't happen until a few years after I started, that I started doing on-camera interviews and stuff. So yeah, the universe pointed me in the correct direction. It's so cliche, but I'm sure I would have liked that job too, but it would have been sales. I don't know if I would have been good at that, to be honest.
So this is a blessing in disguise? Do you view
yes, completely. And I was oh yeah, I'll take this. This seems fine enough. And not knowing that it would I'm so happy. I wouldn't this is what I want to do. I love my job. I've loved it the whole time. I'm very supported at where I am. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. What aspect of your job would you say is your favorite part of your job?
Well, I feel like the like interview stuff I do is kind of like a perk. It's not necessarily the full all that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I run the movie section and the news cycle on a day-to-day basis, so I'm like ideating everything that's going on on the website. So I like headlining a lot. I like self-taught myself how to do that just on the job because I had like this weird in-between position and wasn't sure. I didn't want to step on anyone's toes, but there was a chat where people could pitch news. And so I just kept like doing it until I knew how to headline. But yeah, I mean, I love my job in general, but the like on-camera stuff and meeting, you know, actors and directors and people that I admire is like a huge perk that I'm very lucky to have, you know.
Yes.
I watch, because I'm such a voracious, I'm watching so much content and I've always been such a TV and movies person. So, you know, when I get to meet Neve Campbell for Scream, and that's my favorite horror movie of all time, like I'm shitting my pants. So it's nice. So it's like I work hard, and then once in a while I do these like really cool things that help keep me like really energized and excited. And that's like its own different set of skills that I need to develop besides what I'm doing all day long. So.
Yes. Also, to follow up with the Patti LuPone, so we'll give it to you because she does not currently have a star. However, she will be getting one in this upcoming year.
Wow, she deserves it. It's probably because she's doing more TV lately. She's on the Ryan Murphy payroll.
Yeah, she was in Hollywood, so it's only more appropriate that she gets a star in Hollywood, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But she was in Pose. Yeah. She does all of Ryan Murphy's like stuff at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, good for Patti. She deserves it.
She does deserve it.
How do you think that New York City has influenced you as like a connection to the stars? Because we're very far away from LA, but everybody comes through New York at least one time a year, right?
Yeah, I'm like we don't have an office necessarily or a home base where like we're kind of all over the country. So I'm like it helped me being located here because I was so close to the city that they could put me in the rooms and the junkets. So like that's probably a big reason why I got to start doing on camera stuff. It was just because I was so close to the city that, you know, when me and another editor are like the New York people when there's press happening specifically in New York. So yeah, it's everything as far as like how I've been able to like do my job, and then how I was working in theater beforehand. I mean, yeah, the proximity to New York is everything with, you know, all of the job experience that I've had besides just like, you know, waiting tables and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm not moving there though.
How come?
Stated. Yeah, I just think it's too expensive. There's just I can't imagine myself paying for a New York apartment. Like the amount of space I have in my 2-bedroom in New Jersey would be, I'd double, triple the amount of money in New York. Like that's insane. Yep. That's cuckoo bananas. So it's not worth it for me. I love the city. I'm sure it would be a great adventure, but I'm not trying to I'm trying to make my bank account go up and not down. So
yes, that's what I tell all my New York City friends. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just, you're not gonna, sorry.
Yeah, my friends and they all have like,
and they shoot on Jersey, and it's just like you.
Yeah, I'm like, sis, you live in a one room. You understand? Like, I
live in a closet.
I have friends in New York who are too big physically for their apartment. Oh. Like someone with a loft bed who is tall.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are literally too large for your apartment, and you're paying more than I do, and I have an office. You know what I mean? The math isn't mathing. It isn't going to happen for me.
True.
So do you think New York is overrated, or do you think it's just gotten way too like expensive that it's lost its charm because people can't really live there anymore? Or if they are, they're very stressed.
Yeah, I love it. I love the city. I loved working there. And I dated someone who was there when I was working in New York, was living in New York. So I did a lot, like I stayed there a lot, and I love the city and everything that it is. It's just to me personally. I'm just not willing to spend the money. But if you move straight to New York and you're just always paying what New York pays for, it's just normal for you. Once you've committed. And what we're paying in New Jersey is, fucking ridiculous too. Yeah, like my coworkers who live in the middle of the country have like giant sprawling homes and children. I don't have any kids.
Yeah. Is there any locations that you could see yourself wanting to move to, or that you would you've thought about moving to?
I mean, sure, but then it would be the same sort of issue. It would be connected to a major metropolitan area, either a city or a suburb of a city. So it'll probably it'll be the same vibe for sure. Like there's lots of cool cities that I've been like, oh, I love it here, but like I love San Francisco. That's worse than New York. I'm never going to move there.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's like the only place more expensive than New York. So like that's not going to happen, which sucks because it used to be like this cool, like crunchy place where like you could like go run away to when you were gay. And now there like are no cities where you can go run away to.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard for a place to stay like cool and interesting and unique and then not get over bloated by either like the cost of living there or whatever else kind of takes it over.
Yeah. In San Francisco, it's all Silicon Valley took it over and now it's insane.
But also the media doesn't help because then when they discover they're like, oh, this cool new hip town, whatever, then people flock there. Also, the pandemic didn't help because people flocked out of New York City and came here and bumped our prices up. Yeah, and we're like, no, stop.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like the places around Jersey, like Hoboken was a place like that. Now then it got like really fancy and it's all like business people in their brownstones. And then Jersey City was this was the cheap place, and now that is getting fancy as well. Yeah. So you're just getting like further and further away.
Yeah. It's like Pac-Man.
Yeah, it was kind of amusing to watch like the commercials when they were trying to like lure people back to New York. It was like even like I feel like that was like one of the first times in a while where New York felt desperate to try to get people to come back, because up at that point like everyone was trying to get into the city, but then obviously like the pandemic changed the way a lot of people think about moving to cities, especially with New York being one of them.
Yeah, although it's interesting, my sister lives outside of Philadelphia. And New York, because it had so many like restrictions and rules, became the place that she wanted to go for months, because Philadelphia didn't have you didn't have to produce a vaccine card. You didn't have, she felt more comfortable schlepping all the way to New York for like a special weekend rather than going to the like very viable city that 30 minutes out of, the way for her. So
yeah.
It's interesting. The flip side also like happened in a way.
Yeah. Corey, we're gonna just go check in with your list again. I'm
terrible. I suck.
Now, Corey, you are doing so well.
There's no losers in this game.
You're not the bottom like 3 or 4 or 5.
Everybody, but also
and
though
nothings.
There's but even if you had 0, like the timeline, I'm just saying like the line
I'm trying to think
numbers,
of like
doesn't matter
photos
where you fall.
of people doing the hand thing.
Yeah. Do you want to know how many you've gotten so far?
Sure.
Right,
but then I'm just going to like try to name off as many celebrities as possible because I'm going to feel bad.
And I am nice.
So far,
loser.
So far you have 5. You have RuPaul, Steven Spielberg, Jamie Lee Curtis, Spike Lee, and Patti LuPone.
One hand in the concrete. You got it.
And that's a pretty solid 5 sum, I must say.
Also true, yeah.
Oh, does Spacey have one? I said Spacey's name 6 times.
Yeah, Brendan. Wow. Come on. You mean
he definitely has one.
Listen, I can't separate the art from the artist because their hand in the cement. It's more specific. It's different. We got the sanctity of the woman.
The way that Kevin Spacey is still producing those like weird House of Cards videos.
Like France?
Yeah.
Every 2 years it like comes back and I feel like it's like Jigsaw's face on it. Like I'm like, ah!
Yes.
No, Frank Underwood's dead.
Kevin Spacey does have one. You're right.
He must, yeah. Who else has one? Who else is good?
Ooh, are they going to remove anyone's stars? Is that going to be a new form of canceling?
Yeah. Donald Trump has a star because people vandalize it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess they. I would say
need
they
something to get their anger out.
Yeah, I would guess they probably would not, just because I feel like it's a very slippery slope, and I feel like they'll be there every single week, just removing stars. So just even from like a construction point of view, they're just like it's gonna cause a mess. Like we're gonna like half the stars are gonna be gone.
Now we gotta put in a new sidewalk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and they want all the tourist money. They can't shut down the whole walk to take down all the creeps that are on it.
Yeah. Have you been out to Hollywood and like seen the Walk of Fame?
I have never been to LA.
Oh wow. Same.
Shocking. I'm not. It's not a vacation spot, and I also feel like at some point work will take me there and pay for it.
Yes.
Yes. Hell
yeah, it will happen. Put it onto the universe.
But that being said, we have like a team of people who live there, so there's not like we'll see. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. But,
yeah, but they're not you.
And I go to California a lot though, but I'm more on the like Bay Area side of things. I've never been.
Yeah.
So would you, if you did move out of, or let me rephrase, a reason you would move leave the East Coast, is it because you do enjoy getting like snow and the different seasons, or would you survive in a place where it's just like it is sunny and 70 degrees every day?
I think I would survive in a warm land. I like winter. I like the seasons. This past week in New Jersey makes me wish I didn't, because it's been single degrees. Yeah, I could be somewhere warm, but I don't think I could ever move to LA. I just don't. It's just too. I don't think it's for me.
Yeah, fair.
I'm like that East Coast. I sound like a stereotype, but like
say it, embrace it. No.
But like New York is not a one industry city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I can do. Like I need a break from. I don't want to feel like that competition thing industry. Yeah. Like I just don't want my whole world to like be about one thing.
Yeah.
That's a very valid point. Yes. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're often drawn to people who kind of like work in the same field generally as you, or do you like tend to like look for people who are like a little different in what they do, either professionally or personally, whatever?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not really friends with any journalists. Yeah, I'm like the only one. A lot of people with an interest in theater for sure. That tends to be the more common element, but yeah, no, I'm not friends. I don't have any friends that do what I do, besides like coworkers or like whatever people I've met at junkets, but no real IRL homies.
Well, we wish you the best with your work, your continually watching new horror movies, your
Thank you.
Just recap like everything in your life. And I don't know, just again asking if you want to add any to your list before we clock in your final number.
Oh yeah, who should I say? Chris Pratt has one. I know that's for sure, because his son with the little glasses was there. He's so cute. Oliver, I think his name is.
So cute. He is so adorable. It was sad. Was it? Do you get like? I mean, I'm assuming because you said you're always emotionally available, but do you get broken up when like certain celebs break up?
Not typically.
Chris Pratt, Anna Faris didn't like get you a little.
No, not as the one that stands out is Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Felipe. I remember when they broke up, I was like, love is dead. Reese is my favorite. I bet she has a star. I'm sure Reese. Ryan might also. But she's like my favorite, and I love them. So I was very sad about that. But yeah, what celebrity couples? Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet just broke up. That's sad. That one is the real one, because they're like, their families are so like connected, and like the internet is so obsessed with the fact that Lenny Kravitz and Jason Momoa are like in love.
Yeah, that was oof. Wow, I forgot about that for a second, but yeah, damn.
So Reese Witherspoon does, definitely. Yes, she does. And then Ryan Phillippe does not have one.
Oh wow, she won in that divorce.
She did, yeah.
Did you see Reese Witherspoon on that show on Netflix where they organize closets?
What?
Oh, she was on the Marie Kondo show?
Is that it?
No,
No.
I'm sorry. That sounded a lot meaner than I meant. I'm like, no, that's not it. No, no, it was the two women that they used to have, or they were a business that started on Instagram. Is that the same thing we're thinking of? And then it became. No. So then I'm thinking of a different show. But it's on Netflix, and they were on Instagram, and then they like have their own like closet organizing business or whatever, have a show on Netflix, and Reese Witherspoon is like, I think in the first episode, and they organize
I love her so much.
Her costumes from her movies.
She's my number one favorite.
It's just very sweet. They just organize her stuff, her costumes and stuff from movies. So I was just like, oh my gosh, it was.
Oh yeah, that she still fits in. She can still wear the like Legally Blonde pink bikini. Like, get out of here, get out of town. She's like on my top like 3 like dream people that I want to meet for work. Ooh, like I would die.
Who else is on that list for you?
My problematic fave, Lena Dunham, is definitely on that list. I love her so much. And I know she's my problematic. I love Girls. Like Girls.
Somebody was just telling me Girls is the greatest show of all time.
Yeah, it was a very important show to like. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. I love me some Lena. Who else? Oh, I can't think of my third one. Those are like the first two that I usually list though.
The Home Edit. That was what I was thinking.
The Home Edit.
Home Edit.
That's the cool. Show. Mm-hmm. Nice. Anyway.
All right,
this is a blast.
Yeah, thank you, Corey. Thank you so much for
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Corey, do you have anything you want to plug? Any handles? Anything you want to tell people about? Whether it's a live performance or just anything in general.
Yeah, I am Corey Chichizola on Twitter. Cinema Blend is the entertainment journalism website I work for. Check us out. We're cool. I just did press for Scream, so there's a YouTube video of me talking to the Scream cast, which just went up and is a dream come true. Look out for me. If you see a Scream trailer, my name is in it. If you see the ones when they say the reviews, that's very exciting.
Wasn't there a picture? Also a picture?
No. It just says my name, like Corey Chichizola, whatever I say. But they like edit it like boom, boom, one word at a time. It was like a whole very dramatic situation. So I'm hoping I get on the Blu-ray. Keep your fingers crossed. Then I'll frame it.
All right, well, thank you guys all for listening to us on Sessions with Mary Jane. You can find all of our content either at Late Night Hump and on social media, as well as latenighthump.com. Keep an eye out for all of our podcasts. We have the Morning Shower, giving you some morning jokes based on the news during the week, and we got plenty of podcasts and sketches all coming out. So keep on the hump, and we'll see you next time.